Hello and welcome to First Lady with Meghna Pant, an exclusive show on First Post where we bring you India's foremost leaders, thinkers and activists. Rogues, criminals, scandal mongers. Politicians in India rarely enjoy a stellar reputation. Therefore, it's a breath of fresh air when you meet the erudite and sophisticated Priya Dutt, who's empowering women and also working towards rural development, and of course belongs to one of Bollywood's leading families. Priya, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much.
We've had our presidents, we've had our prime ministers,
yes.
We've had our chief ministers. There's also a 33% reservation for women in the local governments. But despite this, India actually ranks very low. It's like almost 20th from the bottom in terms of representation of women in parliament. So
yes.
Why are women not joining politics?
You know, we've been fighting for reservation in parliamentary elections also, but I think there's a lot of opposition from men because a lot of them will lose their seats if there is reservation. So, that's why you see that even Mrs. Gandhi has been fighting, you know, even when we were in the UPA government.
Yeah.
So there was so much opposition from even our allies that this bill was never passed and it's still pending in parliament. But I think, you know, politics is a 24/7 commitment. When you look at a woman's life, her life is divided into so many compartments, you know, where she's a mother, she's a wife, she's in some places a provider as well, you know, and so there are a lot of roles a woman plays. So I think not many women are still attuned, especially when you look at the middle class or you look at the lower middle class and you look at people who are struggling every single day, you know, to kind of hold on to taking care of their kids, their home, their work. It gets very difficult that you have to put 24/7 of your life in one thing.
Okay.
You know, I have faced that. And it was extremely difficult for me as well.
Yeah. Because politics is it needs you 24/7.
Yeah, you have to be on top of the game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're lost somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're not visible, then people assume you're not there.
That might explain why some of our top political leaders are single and unmarried.
Yeah,
really, especially the female politicians.
Exactly. So you know, because they know that there is no life once you're in politics, beyond politics.
Okay.
So unless you really say that no, I'm going to prioritize, I'm going to give this much to politics, I'm going to give this much to my family.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
Of course, yeah. But do you think women are also circumspect because politics is considered a very, very dirty game?
I think it's not just women, but it's not about just women saying that it's a dirty game. If politics is a dirty game, I think there will be a lot of people who will kind of stay away. But I don't think you can generalize it to just women. Yeah. But it's a general perception that politicians are chores and politicians are bad and politicians are, and it's a very sad thing really, because not all politicians are like that.
Okay, but yeah, I guess that's the general
But that's the perception.
So what would you say is the most important thing for a woman who's entering politics to keep in mind?
I can speak for myself really, because I think every individual is very different. Every individual's needs and wants are very different. When I came into politics, I think I still didn't have to struggle so much for getting a ticket. I know how hard people have to struggle to get a ticket. I think I was fortunate that my father was in politics and I had a lineage. Even though I was not trained to be in politics, so I was not groomed to be in politics. I never knew anything about politics before my father passed away.
Okay.
So for me, it was like a sudden thing where, you know, now I've come into this this game of politics without really knowing how to play it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's literally starting from scratch.
Starting from scratch, and of course my father not being there, I didn't have a mentor, or you know, I didn't. So in a way, I started on a clean slate, and I preferred it that way.
Okay.
Because I could kind of chalk my own path ahead. You know, of course I went through huge ups and downs. People might feel, oh, this one, she's come from this, you know, family, and everything is so easy for her, and well, it wasn't easy because then you have that many people who don't want you there.
Okay. So you also, I guess, carry some baggage from even before you enter politics.
Yeah, because see, in a way I don't blame them, because I came from nowhere. And at that time I was like this new kid on the block who really knew nothing in his becoming a member of parliament, and what about us who've been in politics for so long?
Okay.
So yes, I completely agree that, that was something which I think, so I really had to kind of prove myself in many ways and struggle harder, like every woman has to do. That is another thing a woman does, where she has to kind of, she works so hard at something because she wants to prove that she can do it.
Exactly.
And she can be maybe better than the other person. So that kind of gives you the drive of going ahead. Okay. So it is a struggle there. It is a struggle, and it's not easy. Well, I was not a very overly ambitious woman. I never saw politics as a career for myself, because that wasn't a career option. In career, if you look at something as a career, you look at making money in there.
Exactly.
You look at how far you can go, how high you can reach, how much you can, I was not a very ambitious person, or I'm generally not a very ambitious person. I love doing my work, and I'm happy doing my work.
Yeah.
So that, but then there are women who are very ambitious.
Okay.
There are women who are very ambitious, who want to reach from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, which is also very good.
Of course.
And but I think all I would like to tell those women is that you need to kind of not compromise with your principles. It's not necessary to do that. It's really not necessary to do that. You may be in the worst profession. You can still hold your head above the muck and still go ahead.
Lead your life with dignity.
With dignity, with that respect, and I think you will move ahead. It's your work that speaks.
Absolutely. But I think women in power also have to pay a lot of social penalty. Like, I remember Indira Gandhi was labeled a witch at some point. Angela Merkel is called an Iron Frau. So do you think it's just society as a whole who just, we don't like women in power? We are very we're rejecting the notion. I think, people look at women as this, the softness of a woman, or a woman, the nurturing, the compassion. Yeah. But I think women are also able to take very tough decisions. Now you look at, and I start from a very small thing of a woman in her home. In many ways, a woman really holds fort. Yeah. Though in our society, a man may be the provider, but today I think both are. But women still hold fort in many ways. Yeah. Take very tough decisions when they have to. So in the same way, women, you look at our goddesses. Exactly. Why should we go into when you look at our goddesses, from a Durga, she can become a Kali. Exactly. So there in itself, you see the duality of what a woman can be. Absolutely. Yeah. Nehru had written her letters, letters to his daughters, where he said, in order to understand the world, you have to step outside your boundaries. Yes. So for you, when your father was entering politics, so he sensed that you were about to do the same, were there any words of wisdom that Sunil Dutt shared with you? Lots, I think he never wanted me to be in politics, but he always kind of guided me through the working for people. So I used to help him a lot in his constituency with work, or when we went to Punjab on the Padyatra, so it was more focused on people, on effecting change where people were concerned. Yeah. So when I got into politics, that's what I always focused on, because I had seen my father doing it. Okay. And my father was a very, everybody used to say he's not a politician. So I always say, I'm not a politician. I'm just working, in the way my father taught me to work. And, but he always instilled in all of us is, again, about your principles. Okay. Do not compromise on your principles. You don't need to. Excellent. And as a girl, right, since I was a kid, he never said that you can't do anything. Saying whatever you want to do, you should try it out. Okay. You will fall, but you will get up and learn and walk again. So my attitude is, as long as I'm being honest in what I'm doing. Yeah, and sticking to your principles. Sticking to what I'm doing. But I don't compromise. So maybe in many ways in politics, people look at me as a very stubborn, who doesn't budge. Politics में compromise करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. If you want to आगे बढ़ना है. So I think sometimes I feel
I don't know, I'm maybe not cut out for this kind of scenario.
Yeah. But you're still hanging on because you want to empower women. You're doing a lot of work.
I'm not doing it through politics.
Yeah.
I'm right now very focused on our NGO foundation, the Nargis Dutt Foundation. It's a 35-year-old foundation. And I have been working with it for a long time, but while I was in politics, I didn't focus on it because but now completely focused on that. We've adopted a village in Palghar. We are working with cancer and with Tata Memorial very closely on health and education. And we are also working with you know, regional partners. Like I'd gone to Karnataka where a local partner, Nama Mitra Foundation, is working. We are working together in empowering villages there with solar lights and you know, electrification. So, and I believe, you know, health and education are key in our country.
Absolutely.
You know, they're like, it's like a foundation for our country or any country to grow. And when I look at the potential in the rural India, and I feel it's so untapped, it's so untouched. And all that these kids need is an opportunity.
Okay, great. And that you're empowering them through education.
Through education. And see, it's a drop in the ocean, but I'm doing my bit. And I know with that, when you do something good, a lot of people kind of come together to help you. And I want this to kind of grow and, you know, would like to inspire a lot more people to do this.
I'm sure. And what about Mumbai itself? You know, you said you also have some goals for Mumbai, but I mean, you know, the centre has these huge, grandiose plans for globalizing our cities and making Mumbai the next Shanghai. But I look at the Mufassal reality and I feel like Mumbai is actually becoming the next Sholapur. It's not becoming the next Shanghai at all.
It's terrible. And I think the way Mumbai is going with unplanned development and, you know, we're going to have an issue with water every year. You know, our roads cannot be expanded any longer. When we talk about development of Mumbai, we shouldn't be talking about making buildings. We have to talk about how we can provide basic infrastructure to people. You know, I mean, you know, improve the public transport system. Instead of improving the public transport system, we are encouraging people to bring in more cars. How is it going to help? Mumbai today is rated the most congested city in the world. You know, it's bursting. It's bursting. You know, you're actually pushing people out of the city. And so it's really terrible. And if nothing is done about it really soon, we're going to be facing huge problems.
Absolutely. So I'm going to now get into our pop quiz, which is a fun round. Okay. So a young female politician to watch out for?
Supriya Sule.
Who's the best male politician that you think we've seen?
Jyotiraja Scindia, Sachin Pilot, Jitin Prasad.
Women in politics versus women in films. Who has it better?
I don't think anybody has it better than the other.
Women in power, how far do we still have to go as a country?
I think we are doing well. I mean, when you talk about the local body elections, that's great. 33% and women are coming in. Right from even the panchayat and gram panchayat and everything. So it's from that level, if it started, it's pretty good.
Okay. What is the one thing that you're most proud of in your role as a politician?
I think I've been able to connect with people and I've been able to make a difference to their lives.
You're the daughter of veteran actors. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, that why did you not venture into acting?
I never found it very interesting, you know, for me. And then I was extremely camera shy. And I don't know, I just thought, you know how we feel. Can you imagine dancing and singing like this? I don't remember. I see my brother doing it or my father doing it. I was like, I can't do it.
And who do you think should play your role in Sanjay Dutt's biopic? I
have no idea really, because it depends on, you know, how far back would they want to go.
So you played many different roles, that of an MP, you're a trustee of the Nargis Dutt Charitable Trust, you're a mother, sister, social activist, a friend, a wife, and of course a common citizen. Which among these roles would you rate as your favorite?
A mother.
Fantastic, Priya. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm sure your kids will be delighted as well. So thank you so much for joining us here today on First Post.
Thank
you. Gandhiji said that we must be the change that we want to see in the world. And I think you're epitomizing a lot of that change with the kind of growth you're doing for women and the rural field. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thanks.